Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Mobility Bros. I'm your host, Ron Hilton, and my co-host, Clif Joseph. He got called into a work call, so he'd be late or he may hop on, but we're rolling with this amazing individual that I met a couple weeks ago, Luke Durbin. And so just tell you what we're focusing on at Mobility Bros. We focus on athletic mindset, the mindset of other professionals, mindset of clients, and how we can always serve our clientels and how we can serve the athletic community and professionals. And so today I'm going to read a little bit about our honored guest, and so I'm going to go over some of what he sent. So Luke started off playing football professionally. So Luke is in the UK, so football slash soccer in the
Yeah,
US.
I'll
But we're
try
gonna
and say
say,
soccer as much as I can.
yeah. You know what? We're gonna call it football because it's respectful. That's what you do. That's where you came from, right? So he started out playing professional football, various academies such as West Bromwich, Albion, Manchester City, and Southampton. Alongside
Yep.
football career, he went to college, studied business management and coaching. This course gave him many amazing contacts and put him on the journey to original journey to business.
Mm.
Then went on to university, studied masters in S&C and Westchester University. Alongside, he did personal training, so he got into the fitness industry, started doing some personal training,
Yep.
got qualified, and then moving forward, he ended up, uh, opening up his own facility, did some managing for a facility. COVID
Yep.
hit, and then he got into online training, and now he is a beast helping others out there grow their online business. This man is the bomb.com. How are we doing today, Luke?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. I'm looking forward to this. It's going to be good.
Good. So my first question I want to ask is, growing up, was it always your dream to be a footballer?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really think of anything else. So, for example, I joined my first football team when when I say about 10 or 11. And essentially I didn't have a day off then until 18, 19. So it was pretty full on. I mean, I don't regret any of it. It's
Nice.
given me amazing opportunities, some absolutely phenomenal memories, which I'll touch on in a second. Just some of the
Okay.
stuff that it's just all the team sport and the camaraderie and definitely 100% made me the person I am today. Um, but yeah, in terms of the football, it was just always the dream. If I'm honest, it sort of ruined me academically though,
Okay.
because naturally I got quite not necessarily cocky, probably arrogant. Arrogant is the right word because I was at such a level of football where it was it, there was no other option. Basically, I was going to be a footballer,
Right.
whether it was semi-pro or whether it's professional. I was going to get paid to play the sport. I received my first paycheck when I was 16.
Wow.
So in the UK, you get like
Awesome.
yeah, it was good. I mean, it wasn't a lot. Oh, well, okay, all right. It was £1,000. So I was at that point in time, I was on £1,000 a month to play football. Which obviously isn't when you're 16, you think you're balling, don't you? You think, oh my god, I've got £1,000. Like, what can I spend it on?
Yeah.
But now obviously I wouldn't be able to live off it or anything. But yeah, at the time it was brilliant. So I received my first payment when I was 16. Just before I left high school. So we have first school, secondary school slash middle school in some areas, and then we go to high, or in like the Midlands, for example, you'll go first school up until year six, and then year 7 to 11 you go straight to high school. But year 11, you're 15, 16, depending on where
Oh
you're born
wow.
in the year.
I love hearing that. That's interesting.
Yeah, so if I'm honest, I prefer in terms of pathway, I prefer the way you guys do it in the States,
Okay.
in terms of scholarships and stuff like that, because a scholarship in the UK is primarily just sports. So if you get like, and it's completely irrelevant to what you get in terms of your grades. So like GCSEs and whatnot, it just doesn't matter. So if you're very good at the sport, you can get a scholarship, which I got. And then academically, I was struggling with my scholarship. It wasn't until, to be perfectly honest, it wasn't until my first injury. And don't get me wrong, it's not necessarily, my injury is not a sob story. It's just I was
Okay.
for, yeah, it wasn't like, oh, I could have been the next like Phil Foden or something. It's not like that. It's basically um I was I was slowly falling out of love with football. I've been doing it every single day, non-stop. And I wanted a bit of a change. And then I usually say that the gym saved me, because otherwise there could have been many other different routes that I'd have gone down. Um, but yeah, long story short, got my first injury, which then led me to go into rehab, like so rehabilitation, rehab,
Mm.
with the physiotherapists in the gym. The gym that I was in is sort of UK slang. We call it like a spit and sawdust type gym.
Okay.
So like, how can I put it? A very sort of like steroidy gym. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
big lad.
it's a grimy gym. I know exactly what you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah. Yeah, exactly that. So that was where, if I'm honest, I learnt the most, because you've got blokes in there that are built like houses, and
Yeah.
they were just willing to just like throw knowledge away, which was perfect. So anyways, yeah, that was my first gym experience, and I believe, even when I used to train clients, if you can get yourself in that environment, because it is scary when you first step in there, it is scary. But if you get into that environment, no other gym will be scary, because you've seen it all. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I remember bit of a funny story actually. So I was about 17 years of age, went into the changing rooms, like, you know what I mean, just normal, go in, get changed, come out into the gym. And there was a guy in the changing rooms shooting up gear.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, so I'm like a 17-year-old footballer, like, oh my God, like, what is that? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
completely just didn't even know that was a thing. And that was basically my introduction into the gym environment. I was like, is that normal? Like, what is going on? And then, so no, that was my first injury. My second injury was for Southampton. So I had a bit of a funny career. So I signed for West Brom. I
Okay.
got released just before scholarship year, so I didn't make it into scholarship. And it was essentially like, we don't need you anymore. We don't think you're good enough. We're going to release you. Um, which was a bit of a relief, if I'm honest. I know it sounds terrible because everyone's fighting to be a professional, but I'd done it every single day, and the dog wasn't in me anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like, it
Yeah. I know
wasn't like,
exactly what you're talking about.
yeah, the grit wasn't there. So long story short, I got released. I'm in the car on the way home with my parents, and I rang my football agent up, and I said to him, I said, look, I've just been released. Um, is there any chance I could come back and play for you? So in the UK, we've got Saturday and Sunday football. So Saturday is a bit more serious. It's a bit more of a that well, the majority of academies play on Saturdays and higher levels. Sunday football is just a mess about with your mates. It's just one of those where you just crack on, you have fun, you get a team together and you just play football.
Yeah.
And my agent ran a Saturday team, and I rang him up, and I didn't know any of this. So my agent knew that I was going to get released. My
Okay.
parents knew that I was going to get released, but I didn't. And
Oh,
I
okay.
basically, yeah, so they knew everything. And so I ring up my agent. He's a short little Scottish fella. His name's Gary. He's an absolute legend. I could tell you some phenomenal stories about him. He's just a top guy. Rang him up and I was like, yeah, man, I've just been released. He was like, yeah, I know. I said, okay. I said, is there any chance I can come and play for you on Saturday? He goes, yeah, yeah, no problem whatsoever. So then I've then gone, oh, when can I come over to sign the papers? Because you got to sign the contract and stuff. He was like, don't worry about it. Your dad's already signed it. I'll see you Saturday. I was like,
I
yeah.
love it.
Literally. I was just like, oh, okay then. So yeah, went into that, and then about 2 months later, when I played in a football tournament in Liverpool and got scouted for Man City and Southampton at the same time, I got scholar at City. I was there for a year, then got released the second year. and then went to Southampton. I was there for about 6 months, living away from home as well. So I'm in the Midlands in the UK, sort of
Okay.
Birmingham based, and I had to live in Manchester. Then I had to live in Southampton, and then I came home after Southampton. I said to my mum, I said, look, I want to stay here, so I'm going to pick a football club around here. And I ended up playing for a team called Kidderminster Harriers. Um, that's when I went to college and university alongside that, and then basically went into business, and the rest is history. So it was a
That's
great
awesome.
time.
I love that story. Could you just tell us in the audience, tell me in the audience, just a little bit about some of the injuries? Were they knee
Yeah,
injuries?
yeah. So I was never injury prone. Like I never had lots of injuries. It it was sort of embedded in me that even if you take a knock, you just keep playing. Like
Yeah,
I was playing
I
through
think that's
injuries from the
every athlete.
yeah, exactly. So the only serious injury I had, um, I fractured my eye, the eye socket
Wow.
here, which if you look, I don't know if it's this eye is just ever so slightly closed more than the other one. I mean, it's not noticeable, but it is well, fact. So I shattered my I don't know what it's called. Is it orbital bone or
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah.
my eyelid here. Yeah, it shattered that. But that was just black eye. I was out for a few weeks until the swelling went down. But the real injury was when I cut. Um, so say that's my ankle. I shattered and cut the skin above it, and at the time we were wearing white socks, so
Okay.
it came through. I've gone to strike the ball. It's sliced. There was blood everywhere, but it was quite funny actually. I was very good friends with the physiotherapist from past experiences, and he come running on the pitch. And I remember looking down at my leg, and my socks were red, and I was like, "I'm sure I'm wearing white socks." Like it was really bizarre, but it was yeah, it was quite funny because he made a joke of it. Um, and then it was weird because obviously the adrenaline kicks in, you don't feel it until after, and then yeah, so I was out with that injury for about 6 months. There wasn't any tendon or ligament damage. It was
Okay.
just cut straight through the flesh.
Flesh.
Um, it was not nice, if I'm honest, not
Yeah.
nice. But then again, I'm not believing like everything happens for a reason. But if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be here now. Like we wouldn't be on this call. I wouldn't have gone down the business route. There's
Yeah.
loads. Do you know? There's so many different significant events that would have taken place. It's just I'm quite lucky that it happened. I think anyway. So
I think everyone, and I say this to people, every person has seasons in their life, and like you playing as a footballer and going through that was a season in your life, and then you
yeah,
move on to the next season in your life. So which we're going to talk about, what was coming out of that and you exploring fitness, like what gave you that passion to get more into like personal training and doing
yeah.
that.
To be honest, it's a hard question to ask because I think stuff like that, it's like taking up a new sport. It just grips you. There's something about it that you just love. And
Yeah,
for,
yeah,
for
that's what
me,
happened to me.
yeah, like for me, I was never, even at football, I was never a long distance runner. I was 10, 15, 20 yards sprint, and then I'd have to take a rest, take a breather. But my game was short, sharp movements. Um, so when I came over to the gym, everything within reason was an A to B movement. And until you dip it into CrossFit, my thing was bodybuilding, and my thing, I've got pictures of me months ago, to be honest, before Hades kicked off, which we'll talk about, and when I was in the gym more and I was working in the gym, my thing was bodybuilding. I then took on the strength and conditioning role. I
Hmm.
think, okay, actually, no, I can't answer that. It was the strength and conditioning that gripped me. It was working with athletes. It was the stories behind that. So, um, got some phenomenal stories. So obviously, Jack Grealish, who plays for Manchester City, he's an England player. You might have heard of, or people that are watching this would have definitely heard of him.
Okay.
Um, I've done S&C with Jack Grealish. I've done S&C with Adama Traore, who I believe, don't quote me, guys, because I really don't know. He might be at Barcelona at the moment or Barcelona B team. He was at Wolves when I did S&C with him. And then various youngsters that are breaking through at the moment. So you got like names. got the Louis Barry, who played for Aston Villa, went to
Okay.
Barcelona. He couldn't get his international clearance, so he then came back. He's now, I believe, I think he's at Scunthorpe. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, guys. But he's very good footballers, basically.
Okay.
Basically, I've been out of the S&C game for so long. I don't know where anybody's playing at the moment. But yes, we had various bits like that. And it was a strength and condition. It was basically helping people
Mm,
adapt their body, adapt like so fast twitch fibers, obviously explosiveness, their
yeah,
overall power. And then
yeah.
if I could then there was a lot of benefits that came from it, obviously like free tickets to games and stuff, and I could have a box at games. It was brilliant. And then when I started dipping into sort of boxing, MMA, dealing with weight cuts for athletes, so getting down to a set weight so that they could perform
Oh wow,
at
I didn't know you did that. That's awesome.
yeah, so that was quite fun. But I love the science behind it.
Yeah,
So that then led me into sort of supplements and nutrition. I love any sort of like pre-workout. I
yeah,
love like the protein-based stuff.
yeah.
Looking into, for example, there's a lot of proteins out there at the moment that are essentially irrelevant. So the only reason they've got 30 to 40 grams of protein in there is due to the nitrogen level. So when it goes through its testing, let's say so a bottle, let's just pretend that's like whey protein. It's Gatorade, but let's pretend
Yeah.
it's whey protein. It's a 500 milliliter bottle. On average, you could probably put 15 to 20 grams of pure protein in there that the body will absorb.
Mhm.
But the company itself could advertise it as 35 because they'll just up the nitrogen levels in it. So it's like I love stuff like that basically, and like
That's
I said,
awesome.
nutrition supplements, anything to gain an edge. I then dipped into the bodybuilding world. So obviously depending on which category you're going for, naturally steroids come into the equation.
Mhm.
So I then learned all I could about that because obviously, if you're coaching people, if they come to you for advice, you need to have that advice. Or I strongly believe that I would never ever take any. If one of my clients asked me a question, I'd never say, "Oh, I don't know the answer. Go and ask so and so." What I'll say is, "I don't know the answer, but I'll find it out."
Yeah, I agree with that. You always remain the expert, but also remain humble and knowing that you may not know, but you will go find that information.
Yeah, 100%. That's it's another thing that I teach clients at the moment is you always want to be the person with all the answers, but you need to be humble enough to say, right, just give me an evening, let me research it, and then I'll get back to you because I'm not too sure. Because obviously, when you're dipping into hormones, you can't get that answer wrong. Like you cannot. I'd never advise, but I'd never say like, oh, I recommend you go on to this or I recommend you go on to that. But what I will
Mhm.
say is this is the information that I know about it. These are the pros, these are the cons. You can make that decision because it's your body and it's your hormones, but
Yes,
I'm
yes,
never going to
yes.
advise. Do you know what I mean? Because then you just go into so many different rat runs and
Yeah.
legally as well, you can really tie yourself up. And I just don't agree with it. I'm thinking like if it's your body, more than happy. You do
Do
what
what
you
you
want.
want to do.
Yeah, as long as you're happy, you crack on. I will give you the knowledge around it, but I will never advise you. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to be like, for example, if we're bulking, okay, I want you to go on HGH, test, and debol. I'll be like, no, here's the information around it. You choose what you want. At the end of the day, I'm going to get your nutrition spot on. I'm going to get your workout program spot on. Anything you do along the side to help your recovery is down to you. Do you know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
yeah, so
I
stuff
got
like
I
that.
got a phrase that I say, you do you, bro. That's what I
Yeah,
say.
yeah, literally, you do.
You
Yeah.
do you, bro.
Yeah.
Like I feel the same way. I feel like, I love making sure I give the right information. You know, I mean, I have gotten to the point where I would like strongly advise against something, but again,
Yeah.
that's they're grown. We work with
Yeah.
grown-ups. They make their decision. They do what they want to do. So
Yeah, definitely. I think as well, to a certain extent, if so let's change the argument towards supplements for a sec, just so that we're not in the grey area of steroids. But let's say if someone comes to you and they say, "Oh, what whey protein do you recommend, or what supplement brand do you recommend?" Subconsciously, they've already made the decision that they are getting supplements. So you're not necessarily going to go, right, I don't agree with supplements, or I don't, because then it's not an argument, but they've already made the decisions. That makes sense. So if
yeah,
you say,
absolutely.
okay,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, so if you turn around and go, right, well, you're going to get better results from pure nutrition. So pure chicken breast, pure proteins, that types of stuff, and then whole foods. But arguably, they could turn around and go, yeah, but it's more expensive. And it is. In the UK, for you to get fresh, wholesome foods, it's ridiculous money.
Oh
It's
wow.
it's cheaper for you to go to like a butcher's and get a massive joint and carve steaks out yourself than it is to actually go and buy individual steaks. And it's the same with fruit and vegetables. The fresher it is, the more expensive it is. So obviously, with us being in the fitness industry, it's hard because you're basically asking a client to pay for you and your expertise, your
Mm.
knowledge, your programming, your nutrition advice. Then you're asking them to fork out another, depend on how big their family is, sometimes it's upwards of £500 to £600 a month just on food as well. And it's like, okay, well, I like to go like cheap and cheerful. So we got shops in the UK like Aldi and Lidl where
Yeah, we have all these. Yeah.
yeah, like the food is still fresh, but it's at a much cheaper price. So yeah, so what I would say is if somebody is coming to me and they're like, oh, I'm asking advice on supplements. Well, okay, so subconsciously, you've already made the decision that you will be going on to supplements. Now, I've just got to give you advice around that information. So, I'm not going to tell you what to use, but I might say, well, this brand is cheaper than this brand, and they both do exactly the same. So, obviously, go for the cheaper one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think it's very situational, isn't it? It's not one size fits all. It's like you've got to adapt to the client.
I agree with that. I do agree with that. Um, let's switch over to a little bit, talk about like online.
Yep.
Like in your bio, you talked about, you owned your own facility. COVID freaking took everybody out. I still feel to this day in 2024, there are still business that are completely shut down, and there are
Yep.
people that are still kind of recovering or recouping from that. And my
Still busy.
partner,
Oh,
yeah, my business partner Cliff, my co-host here, very similar situation. He had gym where he was a gym where he was just making a ton of income
mm,
coming in a month, had an entire staff,
yeah.
and COVID just freaking just took it out, and then trying to really build that back up. Now he's kind of doing this hybrid of online and in person.
Yeah, love that
Um,
because it offers more to people as well. So yeah, so just touched on the COVID situation.
yeah,
What happened was so during my S&C journey, um, I ended up teaming up with a phenomenal guy. He's absolutely amazing. I've introduced you to him before, Simon. So Simon Noakes, he ran a company called The Performance Corner. He's now got a company called iFuture Coaching. So anybody that's watching this that is a football coach, go and check it out. The information is phenomenal. Like
awesome.
I'll drop a shameless plug in there for Simon, but yeah, honestly, go and have a look. It is really good. Um, Simon had an idea of building a gym on a football pitch so that we could do S&C with football athletes. And basically we took it on. So the cheapest way to do it we found was using shipping containers. So like you got 40 foot, 20 foot, I believe they now do 10 foot, but we had a 40 foot shipping container and then we had a 20 foot alongside it. We plasma cut the center out,
Okay.
welded them together, and then it was one big room essentially. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was brilliant idea. Looking back, we definitely wouldn't have plasma cut. We'd have gone through yeah, basically the problem that we had with plasma cutting is that we actually warped the metal ever so slightly. So leaks began to form and come through over time. But we just had to put a roof on top basically. So we did that, but it was just another outgoing that we didn't need. So yeah, we did that. We set it up on a football pitch called Hampton, which is in Solihull, Birmingham. Nice area, very wealthy area. A lot of footballers live there, so professional pros live there. And yeah, we had it off the top of my head, I want to say just under 2 years. So set it up, went through all the legal stuff, got it insured, got the ground rent sorted, built very good momentum with it. I think our busiest term, we were taking on 40 clients within a week.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, and that was just me myself. There was also because I've got my coaching badges, so I'm UEFA. I don't know if it's different in the States, but in the UK, I'm UEFA B. So I can coach pro footballers, but I can't go above a certain level. To be honest, mate, I've been out of the game that long. I don't know what it is
Okay.
now. Um, but yeah, so UEFA B, and with my S&C and my personal training, I could football coach as well as taking them through all the fitness drills. So we had that. We also had PTs that were renting the gym at like £10 a session. So they'd charge 30, take 20, and we'd take 10. Um, and yeah, like I said, built great momentum. COVID hit, and the rules and regulations in the UK was that we went into total lockdown, and I believe we were in lockdown for, I want to say, about 4 months. I don't know.
Okay.
It was a blurry time. It was, and nobody knew what was
It was a
going on.
blurry time for everybody, man.
It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. So yeah, went to total lockdown, and then they started to bring in rules that you could do exercise outside if it was on a 1-to-1. So obviously all the personal trainers then were like, perfect. Okay, brilliant. So we can keep our 2 meter distance. We can go out and we can do PT. Spot on. So we then started to do that. We then got a visit from the local police, probably not even a few days into us not going back to normal work, but because we had the field and we could work outside, we had a visit from the police. They then came and said, yes, but it has to be. It was a stupid rule, if I'm honest. You had to be within a certain amount of meters away from a public footpath. So it meant that you were just out and about and you wanted to do some exercise. So this is where it now gets technical. There was a field and then there was an actual walkway, but it was out of the distance that we needed it in. So we just built our own path. So we basically attached the path to ours, brought it closer to the gym, and then made it loop back round again to attach to the path. Following week, we carried on working. Like, obviously, we got to make money. Everyone's got to make ends meet. Police then turned up again, and just went, well, the path's there. So if you want to do the yardage and work out how far away it is, feel free. But we know we're now legal and above board. So that was our sort of loophole, if I'm honest. We could legally do what we were doing. We just needed to do it closer to this footpath, basically. And it was a pathetic rule. It was stupid. It really, really was. It was ridiculous. But yeah, so we did that. Um, and then I believe Hampton itself fell on sort of stony ground, had some financial difficulties, and then we ended up selling it. So then we sold all the rights back to Hampton. They then took they took the facility. I took all the equipment, and it's now downstairs in my house. So I've got the full gym set up all downstairs.
Sounds like my house, man. That's awesome, man. And so how did you come up with the business Hads agency and I guess where the name came from? Because I'm like looking at your
Hades,
Hades.
Hades, yeah. So to be fair, this is another funny story. I mean, I'm terrible with names. When it comes to business now, I'm terrible. I've set up over this year, well, 2023 and coming to 2024, about 60 businesses for clients. And I always leave the names to them because I just can't do it. So, anyways, Hades is the Greek god of the
Yes,
underworld.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. I'm actually watching a show on Disney. What do you call it? It he's uh Percy Jackson.
Yeah. So Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, is it?
Yeah, well now they have if you have the Disney Channel, they actually have a series on right now.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I'm gonna have to have a look at that.
Yeah.
So I've seen the films, The Lightning Thief, isn't it? And then I'm guessing if the series that'll be a follow on from that. So um yeah, long story short, Hades is the god of the underworld and the giver of wealth. So because we're a business mentoring agency, the giver of wealth, that just stuck with me. And obviously as you can see, I like the whole Greek mythology type.
Yeah, I
I don't
love
know,
that. I love
it
it.
looked good. And the theme as well, just really set for what I wanted to build. So yeah, we've been full time now for a good few years. I myself was mentoring privately for just over a year. Then I went live with it, obviously registered the business, purchased an office. I've now got 4 mentors. So there's me, Charlotte, Harry, and Jord.
Brilliant.
Um,
Brilliant.
Between us, we're looking after this weekend, it'll be 52 clients. And I've just hired 2 marketers as well. So I am looking for another 2 marketers. So if anybody on here has got any marketing experience, please message me and we'll sort
Yeah.
it out.
And,
But
I'll keep my ear to the ground about that.
yeah,
So
that'd be brilliant. Thank you. So
that's
yeah,
amazing.
so
Okay.
what we do.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, it's fine. So yeah, what we do, we just look after online businesses basically. So anything from online personal trainers and online coaches to physiotherapists. I've got a golf coach who's doing amazing at the moment. His name's Cameron Edmonds. He's phenomenal. Like plays off scratch. He's brilliant. What else have we got? We've got bathroom fitters, Amazon FBA, drop shipping, traders. We do a little bit of everything. That's the reason why I got the
That's
4
awesome.
mentors on board, is because we we specialize in different things. I dip my toe into everything, and obviously I oversee everything. Charlotte does aesthetics and female online coaches. Harry is videography, dropshipping, Amazon FBA, and trading. And Jord is similar to me, dips his toe into a bit of everything. But yeah, it's we've just got our first millionaire client. So a client that's gone from 0 to building a business to a mill. His name's Archie Spence. I'll give him a shout out. He's killing it, man.
That's
He's doing.
incredible.
He makes me so proud. He's done absolutely amazing. Um, a lot of online coaches have joined on this year. So we're smashing like the January rush. We're predicting, and if there is any PTs and online coach on here, February is going to be bigger than January. So please bear that in mind. A lot of people have played catch up over the Christmas period. So now they can afford a coach essentially, and also depending on your target market and so on and so forth. But yeah, Hades has been, it's been a slow burn, but it's been my baby. It's been the one that I thoroughly believe can be a very successful thing for me in the long run. And I'm really pushing it hard. I love doing it. I love working with everybody. And me and you wouldn't have had this conversation if it wasn't for Hades as well. So
I know, I know. I love. Listen, man, you're for your age, you're freaking amazing. There's a
thank
lot
you.
of people that are like you're. If I remember correctly, you're 26.
Yep, yep,
Yeah, there's people your age that are still trying to catch up and grow up. So it's you have this amazing aura about you, this strong business mind, and I
yeah.
appreciate that, man. That's amazing. And just final question, what are some goals that you have going into 2024?
Okay, so 2024. I've got, just being totally honest, truthful. I want to pay off my student loan. So obviously debts and stuff. I want to just get rid of my student loan. I haven't got to worry about that. And then the next thing is I'm purchasing properties within the UK. So it's called buy to let. Definitely want to get my first property this year. And
Nice.
then the last one, which is the big one, and what I'm most looking forward to, is moving abroad to Portugal. I'm
That's
gonna move
awesome.
abroad. Yeah, it's my favorite place. Been moving across. It's beautiful. It's just the way of life, everything. I absolutely love it. The UK is brilliant. But I just, time to move, man. Do you know what I mean?
Time
Like
for
there's time to
change.
experience. Yeah, time to experience some different stuff and a different way of life. So yeah, those are the goals. Obviously, to get to that point, there's a lot of individual business goals. So for example, Jord, Harry, and Charlotte, I want to get all 3 of them comfortable within their financial status as well. So we're a bit of a family at Hades, which I love. Everyone's got their own little struggles and problems and stuff. We help each other, and in terms of mentoring, I can happily say we are the best in the business purely because of how much we care. And we offer a phenomenal referral scheme where we also pay our mentees if they help us get business and stuff. So yeah, it's just, there's a lot of individual goals, but we're heading in the right direction. And this month so far has been absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, touch wood, everything continues to go as it is.
That's awesome. And if anyone wants to get a hold of you, how would they do that?
So Instagram, I've got various. Let me just get my name up so I don't mess it up. So yeah, so Hades _official _ agency. There's a picture of me, and I am verified, so it's a blue tick. LinkedIn, just type in my name, Luke Durbin. It will come up. You'll see the Hades banners. And that's about everything. I mean, I'm on Instagram. Um, I've just done a competition as well, so you guys can go over and have a look and see who wins that. And if anybody needs any advice, anything, if you're a PT that wants to go online, if you want to run an online business, if you're a little bit scared and don't know how to start, if you need a lifestyle coach, we've got it all. So if I haven't got the answer, I know somebody that will have, and I will definitely help you out. We'll jump on a totally and utterly free Zoom call. We'll have a chat, get to know each other, and I'll help you out as much as I can. So
Awesome,
brilliant.
awesome. This is the man, Luke, and he is freaking crushing it. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Be Legendary Athletic Apparel and Fitness Essentials. If you want to pick up your apparel gear, here we go. Be legendaryathleticapparel.com and Fitness Essentials. And I want you guys to stay awesome, keep stepping greatness, and be legendary. Have the most amazing day. Thank you, Luke, for being on the show. And
Thank you for having me, man.
take care for now.